The SCZ or shuts fixture is the most widely available kiosk fixture, representing approximately 90% of all freestanding fixtures. There are three components to the perfect kiosk. Number 1, proper planning and assembly of the kiosk fixture. Number 2, optimal category placement. And number 3, adherence to merchandising guidelines. The first component of the perfect kiosk is proper planning, assembly, and placement of the kiosk fixture. The Seasonal Business Manual details specific steps that should be taken in the weeks and days leading up to the installation of the kiosk. One of the most important steps is to inspect the space for specific issues and challenges. You'll want to ensure that the space is large enough to accommodate the fixture. The SCZ fixture will need a 10-foot by 20-foot space. Ask the mall leasing manager to tape off the exact space to ensure accurate placement of the kiosk. You'll also want to determine where the mall's power source is located. In most cases, the power source will be located in the floor. It is important that the power source be located at either end of the 10-foot by 20-foot space. This will allow for the cash wrap to be positioned over the power source. Please contact your DMA if the power source is located elsewhere in the space. The following slides detail the steps listed in the pre-installation checklist from the manual. 2 weeks prior to the install, be sure to contact your DMA and confirm install date, time, and site number location of the kiosk. Inform the mall manager of the install date, time, and site location. Also, you need to ask if there's a loading dock that the warehouse can use to deliver the fixture. If there is not a loading dock available, you'll need to determine which access point the warehouse crew will be able to utilize. The largest crate is 8.5 feet wide by 6 feet high and 7.5 feet deep. At this time, schedule a date and time to meet your final location review with the mall manager. This meeting should occur 2 days prior to install. If there are any mall-specific issues in regards to your kiosk install, contact your DMA or a member of the seasonal business team. You'll receive warehouse contact information in your seasonal business welcome kit. 1 week prior to your scheduled install, contact your warehouse and verify the installation date and time, establish the exact meeting place on the day of installation, notify the warehouse of correct access doors and whether a loading dock is available, discuss the dimensions of the access doors, and if possible, exchange cell phone numbers in case of an emergency. 2 days prior to the installation of your kiosk, meet with your mall manager and complete the pre-install checklist found in your Seasonal Business Manual in section SB-03. Remember to confirm install date and time, that the electrical outlet and the phone jack is operational, and that the mall manager will have the space taped off. A few best practices that can be used to help assure a smooth installation process are: confirm the receipt of product at least 2 days prior to installation. Sort product out by category to help speed up the installation process. Set up the register in the back room of the base store once received. This will allow for troubleshooting prior to the opening of the kiosk. And schedule 2 to 3 employees to be at the install. Tools the warehouse should bring to the installation include a power drill, a socket set, and a 6-foot extension cord for the drill. The store should bring the contents of the hardware kit bag, which includes 24 number 8 by 1/2 inch self-tapping screws and 8 1/4 inch by 20 nuts. Assembling your SCZ kiosk. First, make sure you have all the parts needed to install the fixture. If necessary, reference the fixture inventory in your Seasonal Business Manual. If critical components are missing or are severely damaged, immediately contact your DMA or a member of the Seasonal Business team. It may be necessary to cancel the installation. If you are missing non-critical components, for example, several shelves, contact the parts hotline to order replacements. A typical kiosk location in a mall is 10 feet by 20 feet, with a mall power source and phone jack located at one end of the space. Begin assembly of the SCZ by constructing the 4 towers that are the core of the fixture. The 2001 SCZ units, or SCZ 001 through SCZ 100, have towers that are one piece and simply need to be placed. All other SCZ towers need to have the top and bottoms connected. Start by placing the top of the tower onto the lower base. There are 4 posts that protrude from the base. The tower top slides down over these posts. Once you have slid the top completely down onto the posts, secure the tower top to the base with 4 screws that come with the fixture. To attach the lighting truss onto the tower, tip the tower over onto its side. Use a flattened cardboard carton to prevent damaging the truss or the mall floor. Bring the lighting truss around and line up the brackets on the lighting truss with the uprights on the tower. Once you've lined up all 6 uprights, secure the truss to the tower using 6 self-tapping screws, which are included in your hardware kit bag. Start by screwing the top 3 screws first. Then move to the bottom screws. On the bottom, secure the middle screw first. When you have finished tightening all 6 screws, stand the tower up. Repeat the process for all 4 towers. Once you've completed the first tower, place it adjacent to the cash wrap. The cash wrap should be placed over the power source at the end of the assigned location. This tower will now be the power tower. Note that on any 2001 SCZs, SCZ 001 through SCZ 101, there's a specific power tower with a 15-foot extension cord permanently attached to the tower. This tower must be assembled in position first, as it's the only power tower option on this fixture. Once you've completed the remaining 3 towers, place them in a rectangular formation based off the power tower or Tower A. Next, insert the sign headers. There are 4 sign headers with the fixture, 3 electrical, which are identified by the cord, and 1 non-electrical, which does not have a cord and is used between the 4th and the 1st tower, or Tower D and Tower A. On the short side of the fixture, the trusses should be 41 inches apart. When inserting the sign on the short end, make sure the nuts are on the inside of the fixture and the male end of the cord is plugging into the power source. Make sure you've inserted the sign header on the short end into the holes at the edge of the trusses. On the longer side of the fixture, the tower bases are 60 inches apart. Again, make sure the nuts are facing to the inside of the fixture and the male end of the cord is plugging into the source of power. Also make sure that the sign header has been inserted into the 2 holes located approximately 9 inches from the truss corner. There are 3 different SCZ design types, and all 3 differ in how the electrical connection should be made to the light fixtures. All SCZs manufactured in 2003 or later, SCZ 300 and greater, have the following lighting characteristics. Each truss has 4 duplex receptacles or 2 electrical outlets. There will be 1 duplex in each corner. There is no specific power tower. An extension cord can be plugged into any tower to supply power. And each lamp has its own power cord that must be plugged into the adjacent lamp's receptacle for power. Start by feeding the extension cord from the mall's power source up through the power tower and insert the cord into the cord channel on the upright. There are 4 duplex receptacles on each truss, 1 in each corner. Begin by plugging the extension cord into the first lamp on the short side of the power tower. Plug the subsequent lamps into the adjacent receptacles. Once you have all 4 lamps or sides plugged in, plug the male end of the first electrical sign header in to carry the power to the next tower. Repeat this process for the remaining 3 towers, ending at the non-electrical sign header. The SCZs manufactured in 2002, SCZ 101 through SCZ 221, differ from the 2003 models in that they have 4 single receptacles or 1 electrical outlet in each corner of the truss. Because of this, a triplex receptacle is needed to plug in the sign header and carry the power from the first tower to the second tower. Similar to the 2003 SCZs, 2002 SCZs have no specific power tower and each lamp has its own power cord. There is a single receptacle in each corner of every truss. Begin by plugging the extension cord into the first lamp on the short side of the power tower. Then plug the next lamp into the first. Once you get to the corner where the sign header will be plugged in, first plug in the triplex receptacle, then plug in the next lamp, and then plug in the sign header. Finish plugging in the 4th lamp on the tower, and then repeat the process for the remaining 3 towers ending at the non-electrical sign header. There are 2 types of triplex receptacles used with the 2002 SCZ, one with a cord and one without a cord. For the fixtures that have a triplex receptacle with a cord, be sure to plug in the cords and then conceal the cords from the customer's view as much as possible. For fixtures that have triplex receptacles without a cord, plug in the lamp and sign header cords into the triplex first and then plug the triplex into the truss receptacle. The SCZs manufactured in 2001, SCZ 001 through SCZ 100, are completely different from the newer SCZs in some respects. Characteristics of the 2001 SCZs include a single receptacle, 1 electrical outlet in one corner of each truss, 1 short male-ended plug in the opposite corner from the receptacle outlet on 3 of the trusses, and 1 specific power tower which has a 15-foot male-ended cord hardwired in the opposite corner from the single receptacle. On the 2001 SCZ, you plug in the power cord and plug the male end of the sign header into the first tower. The cord on the sign header will carry the power to the next tower, and the process should be repeated for the remaining 3 towers, ending at the non-electrical power tower. Once you've plugged in the first tower, check that all lights are working. Repeat this process as you connect all 4 towers. Make sure you have all 4 towers lit by properly carrying power from tower to tower via the electrical sign headers. Make sure you have the power tower plugged in and the truss is properly connected. Next, plug the male end of the cord in the sign header frame into the power tower. Then plug in the first lamp on the second tower into the female end of the first electrical sign header. Repeat this process for the next 2 towers. The 4th sign header between the 4th tower and the first tower is a non-electrical header and does not have a cord. Carrying power around the 2001 fixture is slightly different. Start by plugging in the 15-foot power cord that is attached to the power tower into the power source under the cash wrap. Next, plug the male end of the first sign header into the power tower. Then snake the female end of the cord around the side of the second tower and plug in the short male-ended cord on the truss. Repeat this process for the next 2 towers. Again, the fourth sign header should not have a cord as it's the non-electrical sign. Please reference the installation section of your seasonal business manual to troubleshoot any lighting issues. If your lights are still not functioning properly, contact your DMA or a member of the seasonal business team. Once you have successfully lit all 4 towers, move on to installation of the shelving. Start with the 60-inch J shelves, which are the longest shelves you'll receive with this fixture. Begin installing shelves from the top. Use a calendar to help determine an appropriate distance between shelves. On the outside of each tower, you'll install 5 60-inch J shelves, except on the tower that features dog calendars. Starting in 2005, all SCZ fixtures will be outfitted with a 60-inch bin shelf, which should be installed as the 3rd shelf from the top. This shelf is called a dog breed browser shelf. On the inside, you'll install 4 J shelves and 2 30-inch drawer shelves. Each tower has 2 storage drawers in its base. There are 8 30-inch J shelves or drawer shelves, which should be placed on each drawer. There are 4 wire end baskets. Install one on the outer end cap of each tower. Each basket inserts into the tower the same way the shelves do, and the top brackets on the basket line up with the brackets on the second 60-inch shelf from the top. There are 2 types of 24-inch shelves on the SCZ kiosk. The 24-inch flat shelf is a deeper shelf and is used on the towers. You'll install 5 24-inch wide, 6-inch deep shelves on the inside end cap of each tower. Start on the bottom and work your way up. Use a calendar to determine distance between shelves. The second type of 24-inch shelf on the SCZ kiosk is a 24-inch pod shelf and is not as deep as the flat shelf. Each rolling pod should feature 8 24-inch pod shelves, 4 on each side. The 24-inch shelves should be installed under the plexi sign headers. In addition to the 24-inch pod shelves, each rolling pod has 8 13-inch shelves, 4 on the other 2 sides of the pods. A completed pod features 16 total shelves, 8 24-inch shelves, and 8 13-inch shelves. In the sign kit, there are 4 rolling pod signs: Great Gifts, Local Interest, Special Values, and Best Sellers. Each sign should be inserted into the plexi sign holder on the rolling pods. If you do not have 4 plexi sign holders, call the parts hotline. On the side that features the Best Seller sign, make sure you utilize Best Seller clips to feature top-selling calendars. In most cases, the 2 rolling pods should be featured on the opposite end of the fixture from the cash wrap, with Best Sellers and Local Interest pointing away from the fixture. Now that the kiosk has been assembled correctly, it's time to begin placing product on the fixtures. The second component on the perfect kiosk is optimal category placement on the fixture. Correct placement of key categories on your kiosk will increase magnetism, improve customer flow, drive multiple purchases, and most importantly, maximize your kiosk sales. We have a strong understanding of the categories that perform best and want to feature these categories prominently. Here are the top-selling categories. These 6 categories represent almost 70% of the total sales in your inline. The following slide depicts the optimal category layout. This category plan is also located in the merchandising section of your seasonal business manual. While this category plan is the preferred layout, there might be some circumstances in a mall that might require some minor adjustments. Mall traffic patterns. If you notice a heavy flow of traffic in the mall corridor on one side of your kiosk, you'll be better off featuring dogs on that side of the fixture. Co-tenants. If you have several teen interest stores like Hot Topic or Abercrombie on one side of your kiosk, you should feature pop culture titles on that side of the fixture. The most important thing to keep in mind is the 6 key categories will still represent the largest percentage of your total sales, and these categories are higher priority than others. Please partner with your DMA when making category placement decisions. The final component in creating the perfect kiosk is adherence to merchandising guidelines. These guidelines can be located in the Seasonal Business Manual and include the following. Follow planograms. The buyers and operations team closely analyze previous year's sales and current year's buy levels to determine exact title placement on the fixtures. Planograms will be sent to each location prior to opening and will visually show where each calendar should be placed. Since you'll not receive every title with your initial model shipment, it'll be critical that you continually utilize the planograms to ensure proper title placement throughout the season. Feature top sellers prominently. While the planograms should take care of top seller placement, it'll be important for you to continually ensure prominent placement of key titles. Prominent placement means featuring the title full face out at eye level, which is the first or second shelf on this fixture. The seasonal business team will communicate key titles throughout the season via the bestseller list, but you'll also need to feature your kiosk's top local interest titles. Merchandising do's and don'ts. Please keep these guidelines in mind when merchandising your kiosk. Calendar covers feature enticing photos and images. The covers help to attract the customer's attention and help to drive sales. Obviously, we want to display as much of the cover as possible. Here's an example of a shelf featured at full face out. Notice there is no overlapping from one calendar to the next. You'll receive a vast selection of calendars and you will not always be able to feature every title at full face out. When necessary, you'll need to feature titles at either a 50% face out or a 33% face out. Here's an example of a 50% face out. Notice that half of one title is in full view, while the adjacent calendar covers the right half of the first calendar. Using a 50% face out will allow you to accommodate more titles per shelf. The last calendar on the right side will always be featured at full face out. Here's an example of a 33% face out. In this scenario, only the left third of the calendar is visible. Whenever possible, try to avoid using anything less than a 33% face out. Key titles should always be featured at full face out at eye level. On this fixture, eye level is the first or second shelf. In this example, we replace a less important title with a top-selling title. The seasonal business team will communicate key titles throughout the season and in the Seasonal Business Manual. Box calendars represent almost 25% of the total sales each year. This is an important format to our customers. Box calendars should be featured on the inside end caps of each tower. These deeper shelves are designed specifically for box calendars. You can feature 6 units of the same title in 2 3-unit blocks stacked one on top of the other. The majority of wall calendars sent to your kiosk will be a standard size, 12 inches square. However, some wall calendars will be oversized. These titles should be featured on the top shelf. The end cap baskets allow for the presentation of many titles in a small space. Here's an example of dog calendars featured in the end cap basket. Each kiosk will receive a wire basket to be featured on the side of the cash wrap. This basket is designed to feature the calendar wraps, which are an excellent and easy hand sell to your customers. Each kiosk will also receive 2 tiered shelves. These shelves are to be utilized in presenting mini calendars. Utilize the vendor-provided displays to feature your magnet calendars. These are best positioned according to the planogram hanging from one of the end cap baskets. Utilize the black zip ties provided in your welcome